Hey guys, in this video I will show you how to use the default dictionary data structure provided in collections library of Python. To give you an overview of default dictionary, basically when you try to use a dictionary or hash map in other languages, if you try to query an index that does not exist, it will give you an index error or some other error depending on the language. To overcome that, Python provides us with default dictionary. To use the default dictionary, first we will import the default dictionary from the collections library in Python. So from collections import DefaultDict. Now to initialize the default dictionary, I will first define the variable. Now to use simple dictionaries Python, we use curly braces, but to use the default dictionary, we will use the function provided with it. And in this, I'll pass a str. The default value that the dictionary must hold must be passed as an argument and while initializing it. Right now the default value will be in string. So when you try to initialize it, if the index doesn't exist, it will return an empty string. To see how that would work, let's initialize this and let's try to add an element in this dictionary. So at index 1, items would be, let's say, apples. Now, if I try to query this, obviously it will return the string. But what if I try to query index 2 and index 2 does not exist right now? If I do that, it will return an empty string because that's what we defined as the default parameter. Now, to see how this differs from a normal dictionary, let's do items 2 and let's say it as a normal dictionary, nothing special. So let's do the same thing for this new dictionary. So items 2 of 1 will be apples. Okay, let's initialize this and yeah. Now if I try to query the first index, then it will be apples. But if I try to query the second index, then it will give us a key error of 2 because it is not defined. But this doesn't happen in default dictionary because if the index doesn't exist, it will default to a value that is passed as a parameter. Now in this, you can pass different data structures. If I do an int and let's query the first one because the variable was replaced, it will return 0 because it's an integer and it defaults to 0. If you want an empty list for the default parameter, if the index doesn't exist, it will return an empty string. Now to see how to use this feature, let's say we have the index 1 and we can append, let's say 9 to it. If we execute this and query 1, we didn't even need to initialize the dictionary with the empty list. If it was a normal dictionary, we will have to first define the index as a dictionary and then try to append something to it. So if it execute before this, it would just say it does not exist. Okay, let me just reinitialize it. It will just say key error 1. First we need to initialize the list and then try to append it. And that's how it would work. So default dictionary basically simplifies a few steps that we need to carry out if the key does not exist. Now, you don't have to necessarily pass some data structure as a parameter. You can pass functions to it. So let's say you want the default value to be 1. So we can say lambda and the default return value would be 1. If we initialize with this and try to run index that does not exist yet, it will default to 1. Now you can pass in different functions and do different things, what you want to return as a default values. So in this way you can simplify a lot of stuff and reduce the number of lines in your code. That's it for the video. If you like the video, give a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if this helped you out. I'll keep posting different data structure related videos on Python, Java, and a bunch of different stuff. So do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.